celebratory. And always, if you are on the team Krishna, there is always cause for celebration because there is always victory. So, the last sloka of the Bhagavad Gita itself is spoken by Sanjaya, and he is giving this opinion of his to Dhritarashtra. He says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will always be certainly opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So we are actually continuing from where we left, and the victory, celebration, everything continues with the study of the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And in one sense, the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is really a celebration because it is introducing the best topic in the Bhagavad Gita itself, which is the subject matter of bhakti, which is the central focus of the learning of the Bhagavad Gita itself. In the sixth chapter, we studied how the eightfold path of Dhyana Yoga has to be done. So, what are the eightfold path of Dhyana Yoga? It is Yama, Niyama, Asana, and then Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and then Samadhi. So, Yama and Niyama, just to revise, are the rules and regulations to be followed to be a yogi, the basic rules and regulations. And then we have to sit in an asana, which is a particular sitting posture. So, and then once you are seated in a correct posture, then you do pranayama. That is, you start doing the breathing exercises, which are now supposed to be very, very good for handling COVID also. Yeah, and then after we do the breathing exercises, while we are doing, we get into pratyahara, or trying to push out all the material desires that we have in the system, and then get into a deep mode of undeviated concentration, which is dharana. And in that mode, you do dhyana, deep meditation, till you reach the state of samadhi, or complete absorption and meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this was taught to us in the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So, basically, the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita deals with the control of the mind, which will lift us from the dualities of happiness and distress, heat and cold, victory and defeat. So we keep seeing these dualities, and we feel that one situation is better than the other to make us happy. So there is dualities of happiness and distress, heat and cold, then victory and defeat. So all these opposites are there, which is the very nature of the material existence where we have these dualities. But the sixth chapter advises us that we have to consider pebbles, stones, and gold. We should consider them as the same. So, therefore, I had advised at that time that you keep the pebbles and the stones and give me the gold. After all, it is the same. So, then we also said that the sixth chapter teaching was that we should treat the well-wishers, the envious, and the pious all as equal. It's a very tall order. How can you treat your enemies, the envious people, on the same level as your friends? It is a very tall order, but that's the advice of the sixth chapter, where we have to consider everybody as equal and come to a stage of yoga ruda stage. So the yoga ruda stage is considered the perfectional state, a state of nishkama karma yoga. So, what is, can anybody define, unmuting yourself, what is Nishkama Karma Yoga? Vishal is exempt from this question. Anybody else can answer?
Nishkam yoga is that one doesn't do anything.
Nishkama. Kama is what? What is Kama defined as? Kama is desire.
Oh,
Nishkama,
no desire then.
yeah, any
Okay.
kind of desire. And Nishkama is without any desire.
Without any desire.
Meaning without any personal desire for our satisfaction, you perform
Okay.
your karma or activities. So that is the perfection in Nishkama Karma Yoga. That is also the Yoga Ruda stage. Then in the sixth chapter, we also talked about consciousness of the super soul. We should develop a state of a very steady mind, a very fixed and peaceful mind to mitigate all our miseries resulting from the why is the mind not peaceful, why is the mind always unsteady and traveling here and there. The main reason is the soul's contact with matter. Soul is in a very very unfortunate situation that it has got nothing to do with matter and doesn't have any of the properties of the material world, but yet it is trapped in the material world in the body. So that's a very unfortunate situation that the soul has got. So Arjuna then had a worry when all this was being explained by Krishna. He had a worry, and which he explained in the 34th verse of the 6th chapter. He expressed his concern to Krishna. He said, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavat dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayor iva su dushkaram. So Arjuna says to Krishna that for the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Yeah. So Vayor Iva Su Dushkaram. It's to control the mind is more difficult than controlling the wind. Yeah, the mind can travel actually much faster than the wind itself. Yeah. So in one split second, we can go and sit in Delhi with our mind. Yeah. And we can just get the complete picture of our home back in India, and we can travel in a split second to wherever we want with the use of the mind. That's how unsteady the mind is. And besides being unsteady and turbulent, the mind is also very obstinate, doesn't change easily, doesn't listen to you easily. It takes a lot to actually train the mind. It's very strong and restless and obstinate. हमारी बात सुनता ही नहीं है वो. So that's the situation. In that condition, Krishna says, Arjuna tells Krishna that it's so difficult for me to actually control the mind. So whatever you're telling, it looks very impractical to me. Then the discussion took place about the fate of the yogi. If he is unsuccessful, he takes birth in a family which is wealthy, pious, or wise. Basically, a situation which is conducive for further spiritual advancement. So, after giving the complete method of Dhyana Yoga, Krishna actually concludes the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita by the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter, which is Yoginam api sarvesham mat gatenantar atmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. So Krishna on principle agrees with Arjuna and says that you are right. The mind is very difficult to control, and therefore my suggestion is this. And of all the yogis, one who with great faith abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental service to me, the loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So he declares, after explaining all the different types of yoga which he has discussed. He has discussed Karma Yoga in the previous chapters. He has discussed Jnana Yoga. In this chapter, he has discussed Dhyana Yoga, which is also a part of Jnana. So, in any case, he has discussed all the different types of yoga, and he is now declaring that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost method. So, that kind of sets the trend for study of the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhakti itself is defined as uh, loving devotional service. Bhakti comes from the root word bhaj, which is to serve. And if you have to serve someone, you should naturally know whom you are serving. It's very difficult to serve somebody without knowing who it is. So, therefore, it becomes necessary for Krishna to give knowledge about himself. So, the chapter therefore is called as the knowledge of the Absolute. So, the sloka number 1 until 7 of this chapter is the explains the importance of hearing. Knowledge actually starts with hearing, and then Krishna explains how he is saying that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Also explains the his material and spiritual energies. So that is the um, first section of the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So, and then after discussing this, then he discusses on how to control the modes of material nature. What are the modes of material nature? The 3 modes of material nature are, anyone can answer?
Goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Okay, so goodness, passion, and ignorance are the 3 modes of material nature: Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. So he discusses that how difficult it is to get over the 3 modes of material nature. Then he discusses the impious and the pious people. Pious obviously have more chances of coming to Krishna. The impious people, the 4 kinds of impious people, do not come to Krishna. Then a very, very important topic he discusses from 20 until 25, how about Devata worship and impersonalist form of worship. So, Devata worship has been troubling the minds of Hindus for time immemorial. Everybody has got different forms of worship and different devatas that they worship, and the popular belief is that all methods of worship lead to the same goal. So, this is the normal thought process of most of the practicing Hindus. So, that very important topic Krishna covers of Devata worship from sloka number 20 until sloka number 25. And then he concludes between 26 to 30 of how the living entity gets completely bewildered, मोहित हो जाते हैं And how to get over that bewilderment and how to get freedom from the material world is through knowledge of Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how the chapter progresses. So we'll try to finish at least a couple of sections today. So the first sloka starts with in the seventh chapter. I'll just repeat the sloka. No repetition is required. So I'll repeat the sloka. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashrayah Asamshayam Samagrammam Yathagyasya Tatshrunu. In this chapter, every sloka is worthy of memorization actually. So here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Okay. So the Tat Shrunu, you can say, is the punch line in this verse. And Shrunu comes from the word Shrunvatam, or hearing. So spiritual realization actually starts with hearing and not by seeing. We may not be able to see Krishna, but we can hear Krishna through the words of a pure devotee and through Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita. So hearing leads us on to a deeper realization. And then the caution that we have to take is that we should learn and hear from an authorized source. We have discussed this time and again that authorized source means one who comes in the authorized parampara. So any stream of education, we have to go to a recognized institution for learning. So we'll take up sloka number 2. So, and Krishna says that if you do this, that is by keeping your mind attached to me, Maya Sakta Manaha Partha. So basically, a lot of things were discussed about the mind in the 6th chapter, and then so which means that the crux of the solution to the problem of getting out of material existence lies in the mind. And that training of the mind is what Krishna is also talking about. In the beginning of the 7th chapter, he says, Maya Asakta Manaha Partha. So keep your mind attached to me, and that you will Yogam Yunjan Madashraya. And that, according to me, is the best way of doing yoga and taking shelter of me. If you do this, asamshayam samagrammam. Right through the fabric of the Bhagavad Gita, there are so many places where Krishna is making a promise. You do this and I promise you. And he says, asamshayam samagrammam. Without any doubt, samagram, you will know me in full. Yeah? Yatha gyasasi tat shrunu. You'll know me in full. Please hear from me. So, spiritual realization really starts with hearing. So, when in the darkness of night, when a robber or a thief enters the house, you can't see him, but immediately you can hear something going on. So that gives you the first realization. So hearing is the first way of actually making spiritual realization. And then the second sloka is Jnanam tehaham savijnanam idam vakshyami asesatah yajñatva neha bhuyonyaj jnatavyam avashishyate. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So here Krishna is attempting to make us understand the definition of complete knowledge. So by saying that you will come to understand me and you will know all the phenomenal and numinous knowledge, jnanam and vijnanam. So like I said that Shravanam or hearing is the beginning of all spiritual knowledge. There are 9 processes of devotional service explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The verse is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktyascha Navalakshanam. So Shravanam is coming first, and a person who is considered as a sort of an ideal in Shravanam is none other than Maharaj Parikshit. So we all understand how Maharaj Parikshit, when he knew that he is going to be dying in 7 days, instead of taking that as a curse, he took that as a blessing, and he goes and asks Sukadev Goswami, what should I do? I have just 7 days to live. So for 7 days and 7 nights, as long as he finished his stint in the material world, he gave up all his emperorship, he gave up his kingdom, he gave up everything, and then just sat there listening to Srimad Bhagavatam from the lips of Maharaj Parikshit. And while doing so, he did not even take a break for eating or for drinking. He was only feasting on the words of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we talk about Kirtanam, Kirtanam is...
Prabhuji, sorry, I missed out on this. Maharaja Parikshit was telling whom?
No, Maharaj Parikshit was cursed to die in 7 days. And he did not attempt. Now, Maharaja Parikshit was the emperor of the world. He never attempted to counteract the curse. He could have called tens of thousands of brahmanas if he wants and tried to do some yajna to counteract the curse. But he never did any of those things. Instead, he surrendered to the situation as the will of the Lord, and then he was feasting on the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami.
Sukadev Goswami. Okay, thank you.
Never drank. So that's why we have these Bhagavat Saptah. They say that is 7 days. So that's because Maharaj Parikshit heard the message of the Bhagavatam in 7 days. Of course, he listened to the Bhagavatam without eating or drinking or sleeping as well. So Kirtanam is Sukadev Goswami, that is talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sukadev Goswami is the person who did Kirtanam because he spoke the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Then when it comes to Smaranam or remembrance, the ideal person for Sravanam is considered as Prahalad Maharaj. In any kind of adversity, he never forgot the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was always engrossed in remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then the next is, so Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, then Padasevanam. Padasevanam is serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the person who is epitomized for doing that. That is Lakshmi ji. Lakshmi ji is known to never leave the lotus feet of Vishnu ever. There is only one, that nothing could distract her from that service, and only one thing which could actually distract her was actually the rasa dance of Sri Krishna, where she felt like leaving the chest of Narayan and participating in the rasa dance of Krishna. And then for Archanam, that is worship, Maharaj Prithu is well known for that. And when you talk about Vandanam or offering prayers, Akrura is known for that. And Dasyam, who is the best in the Dasyam mode? None other than Hanuman. And Sakyam is a mood of friendship for which we all know it is Arjuna is the best friend of Sri Krishna. And then the final one is Atma Nivedana, that is completely soul surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is Bali Maharaj. Yeah, Bali Maharaj offered everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead to keep the promise of giving the Lord Vaman Dev 3 paces of land. He made a promise, and then the third pace of land there was no place because the entire earth was taken away, the entire universe was taken away by 2 steps of Vaman Dev. And the third step, he said, "You made a promise, what should you do now?" So he says, "Yes, take my head and place your head on the on my head." So with that, I, commit myself to the promise that I have done. So here there are 2 things discussed in this verse. One is jnanam and the other is vijnanam. Yeah, jnanam is knowledge that is essentially about matter of material things, and it is phenomenal knowledge, no doubt, but it is perceived by our senses, which are also material, but it is not fully connected to Krishna. So, Vijnanam is knowledge of the spirit and which can be realized through devotional service. So, Jnanam is knowledge of the matter, and which is called in this verse as phenomenal knowledge, and Vijnanam is knowledge of the spirit, which is called as numinous knowledge, which can be understood through service. We can also extend this a little bit by Jnanam is book knowledge and Vijnanam is realized knowledge, which means practical experience. Yeah. So we all come out of our management schools and we seem to be completely capable of handling any situation. But when we start working, we understand that there are real life situations of which we have no experience. We may have the qualification with his jnana, but then you also feel the need for vijnana or realized knowledge. So that is practical work experience is vijnana, which gives you the knowledge of with realization. Okay. So then, yeah, that is. So Arjuna is the chosen man to speak the Bhagavad Gita too, and 3 qualities which he had was it's explained in 4.3 and 9.1 gives the 3 qualities. So the 2 qualities are explained in 4.3 is Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti, and the 9.1 mentions the third quality, which is Anasuyave, or a very non-envious quality. So he had the spirit of bhakti. He was a Sakya or friend of the Lord, and the quality of a true friend is that he should not be envious of his friend's success or otherwise. So that was the second verse of the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And then, who gets this knowledge and who gets this perfection is explained in the third sloka, which is Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye Yathatamapi Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. So, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So here, um, Krishna is saying that knowledge about himself, very rarely a person gets the knowledge of many thousands of men. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye. Out of many thousands among men, one may take interest in transcendental knowledge. Yeah. And then Yatatam Api Siddhanam. Among those people, very rarely one may know me in full. Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvata. Why is it rare? First thing is very clear. In most of the cases, 99% of the population, maybe at least in excess of 90% of the population, are interested in animal propensities, right? I mean, you don't get most of the people getting interested in going for a satsang. So they are all interested in the animal propensities. What are the animal propensities? Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, and Maitunamcha. So that is, Ahara is eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Why do we say these are animal propensities? Because these four are common with animals. Yeah. But then the real purpose of human life is Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maitunamcha Samanyam Etat Pashubir Naranam. Dharmo hi tesho adiko vishesho. There is only one extra special thing which human beings have, and that is to take interest in understanding God. So most of the people are interested only in animal propensities, and very few are interested in transcendental knowledge. And therefore, that is very clear as to why it's very rare to find a person who has knowledge. So then there are other forms of acquiring transcendental knowledge, not exactly bhakti. There are transcendentalists who say that, I am in the process of jnana, I am in the process of doing karma yoga, or I do dhyan, yoga to understand the Supreme Person in the Paramatma form. So very easily they say bhakti is very, very easy, and bhakti is very sentimental. Yes, it appears very easy, bhakti. Why? Because the process is definitely simple. What do? You just have to chant a few rounds every day, 16 rounds every day, do arti in the morning, do arti in the evening. Apparently, no austerities are to be performed. Whatever you cook, make sure that you cook the right stuff which is suitable for Krishna to eat, and then you offer it to the Lord and enjoy sumptuous prasadam. What to do? Because of the COVID, that last part is now missing, the prasadam part. So in any case, it apparently is easy, but what is the difficulty? Then why do people not unanimously take Krishna's advice? Krishna himself says in the last sloka of the sixth chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham mat gaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. Bhakti is the best form of understanding me, and that is my opinion. Very clearly, Krishna makes the statement before getting on to the seventh chapter, which is the subject matter of bhakti itself. So, in spite of bhakti being a very easy method, there is a problem with bhakti, because everybody who has come to the material world has come with a controller mentality. We all want to lord it over the universe. And bhakti is all about submission and surrender. So that is the difficulty with bhakti, even though it is a very simple method. And that is why it is very rare that somebody takes the process of bhakti and comes to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full. So that is a huge mercy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, who is none other than Sri Krishna himself, who comes down to the earth planet to teach us in the form of a bhakta. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down as a bhakta to teach us bhakti. And yes, and Srila Prabhupada took on the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you see how Prabhupada writes his translations and his purports. In every purport, whether it is Karma Yoga purport or Jnana Yoga purport or Jnana Yoga purport, he ultimately culminates in saying that the perfection of Karma Yoga is Bhakti, Jnana Yoga perfection is Bhakti, Dhyana Yoga perfection is Bhakti. So, with Prabhupada's mercy, we have got this special gift of getting interested in Bhakti Yoga straight away, which is actually a very simple process. But the two aspects which come in between is the aspect of submission and surrender. Yeah, that's very difficult for all of us. We all want to be in control and in charge of every situation. So, if we have to commit ourselves to this process of submission and surrender, then we should know what are Krishna's material and spiritual energies. So, from sloka number 4 until sloka number 12, Krishna talks about the different material and spiritual energies. That's very interesting section as well. So, sloka number 4 is Bhumir Apo Analo Vayuhu Tham Mano Buddhirevacha Ahankara Iti Yamme Bhinna Prakritir Ashthada. So here Krishna is talking about is material energies, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are considered as the gross energies of the Lord, and besides these, the subtle energies are so Bhumir is earth, Apo is water, Analo is fire, earth, water, fire, and then Vayu is air, and Kam is ether. Ether is sound or space. These are the 5 gross energies of the Lord. Important to know that these are all the energies of the Lord. And then, what are the 4 other things? Mano, Kam, Mano, Buddhir, Evacha, Ahankara. So, Man, Buddhi, and Ahankar, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So, these are my separated material energies. So these are the 8 material energies of the Lord. So all the combination of all this is called as a sum total of all this is called as the Prakriti. So these 8 energies are first of all the separated energies and the inferior energies of the Lord. So just a brief idea of the creation. Everybody general belief is that Vishnu is one, but there are 3 Vishnus primarily. One is Karuno Dakashai Vishnu, or the other name is Mahavishnu. So basically, Mahavishnu creates the Mahat Tattva, which is the sum total of the gross and material energies. And at the time of creation, he just creates from the Mahatattva the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Then Mahavishnu expands as Garbho Dakashai Vishnu. As Garbho Dakashai Vishnu, he enters every universe and to create diversities in every universe. So that is Garbho Dakashai Vishnu. And then the third is Shiro Dakashai Vishnu. After entering every universe as Garbho Dakashai Vishnu, he enters every atom in the universe and lives within us as super soul. So, um, so these we'll not get into that discussion, but the eight um, elements of the gross and subtle elements then expands as 24 elements. Yeah. So, what is the difference then? Material science, what does it teach us? It teaches us about the five gross elements, right? Wherever we go to school or college, we are taught about the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. It stops there. Yeah, so it's a chemicals. What are they? If anybody does chemical engineering, it is about the earth, because from the earth you get the chemicals. How you mix the chemicals and something else happens. So all study of material science is based on the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This everybody agrees. Then the other part is generally we are not able to distinguish uh, who are spiritualists and who are materialists. Yeah. So we call many of the philosophers are called as he's a very spiritual person. So philosophers are those people who actually, again, what do they deal with? Mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? So when they deal with mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are still not spiritual, because spiritual means you have to go beyond the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So the basic principle of material existence is actually our ahankar, or the false ego. And what is false ego? Okay, we'll go to the next verse and then discuss what is false ego. So, what are the spiritualists teach? We should be able to distinguish this. That is Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna, Sachit Ananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. So the cause of all causes, the person who teaches about him, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna, he is considered to be a spiritualist. Then Shloka number 5 and 6 we will take together. So now the inferior energies of the Lord was discussed in Shloka number 4. 5 and 6 talks about the superior energies of the Lord. What are they? Apareyam mitas tvanyam prakritim viddhi me param jiva bhutam mahabhagu yaedam daryate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Okay? So, number 6, Ye tat yonini bhutani sarva nityupadharaya aham krishnasya jagatah prabhavah pralayastata. All created beings have their source in these two natures of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain I am both the origin and the dissolution. Yeah. So he is Prabhavaha Pralayas Tata. So the Prabhava and the Pralaya, both Krishna is responsible. Okay, so Krishna says in the sloka number 5 that the superior energy of mind is all the living entities. So we are all the superior energy of the Lord. So if we try to, so clearly the fundamental understanding is that Krishna is the source of all origin and all dissolution. So how many Shaktis he has? He has, he discussed in sloka number 4, what is called as the Bahiranga Shakti, or is external energy or separated energy. That is Bahiranga Shakti. So that is his gross energies and the subtle energies, which is the Bahiranga Shakti. In this verse, he is in these couple of verses, he is discussing about his Tatashta Shakti, or the marginal energy of the Lord, which is the superior energy of the Lord, which is all the jivas or all the um, living entities are considered as the superior energy of the Lord. So there is Bahiranga Shakti, which is the 5 gross and the 3 subtle elements, which expands as 24 elements. And then there is Tatastha Shakti, which is the second energy of the Lord, which is his superior Shakti, which is all the living entities. So then, what really is the problem then? As Tatastha Shakti of the Lord, superior energy of the Lord, we start using the Bahiranga Shakti of the Lord. So we exploit the inferior energy. We use earth, water, fire, air, ether for our dharma, artha, kama, and dharma, artha, and kama. So while using these inferior energy, the aspect of control comes in. Because of the aspect of control, we forget the fact that the inferior energy of the Lord also is owned by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the sense of ownership comes. This is my house. Even if it's a rented house, we say it is my house. Yeah. And then this is my property in India. This is my flat. This is mine. So we start relating to the earth, water, fire, air, ether as our property, and we forget that these are also the inferior energy of the Lord. And then the third Shakti of the Lord is Antaranga Shakti, or the interior and the internal potency of the Lord. So there are 3 Shaktis: Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and Bahiranga Shakti. In Antaranga Shakti, there are 3, which is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat is also called as Sandini Shakti, which is the eternity factor of the Lord. Sat is eternity, Chit is knowledge, and the third is Ananda, which is also called as the Haladini Shakti, which is the bliss factor. The bliss factor or the Ananda factor is what is represented by Srimati Radharani. So Radharani is actually not actually another person. She is non-different from Krishna, but it is the internal potency of the Lord externally manifest. So that is Srimati Radharani, who is the Antaranga Shakti, the Ananda feature of the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord, which is also called as the Haladini Shakti of the Lord. So all these are Shaktis, which means everything which we see around us is actually the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that consciousness is very, very important. And Krishna here continues with sloka number 7, where he says, Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So he says, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So, Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. We keep repeating this. So, the basis of that is on this shloka. It says, Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So I guess this shloka we should all take it up for memorization with the meaning when we meet next time. So, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So we may have the most beautiful pearls with us, and if we try to hold on to the pearls in our hands, slowly the pearls will start slipping out of our hands. So, how do we then hold on to the pearls? Is by the string which holds on to these pearls. So, the string is not seen, only the pearls are seen. But we should know that Krishna is that string which holds on to all the pearls. Everything rests on him, and there is no truth superior to him. So, this is also, if you talk about, if we may call it for convenience, Hindu transcendentalists. So, there are two varieties of Hindu transcendentalists. One is the personalists, like what we are following. We believe in the first personal form of the Lord. And then there are these impersonalists who say that there is no form of the Lord, right? So in this shloka, Krishna says, by calling himself the supreme absolute truth, Krishna says clearly that he is superior to the Brahman. So the impersonalists, they look for the Brahman realization. Okay, so, and continuously there is argument that is going on. It's not as though this controversy is only in the material planet as to which is right and which is wrong. This argument has been going on even in the Devaloka on who is supreme, because here Krishna says he is the supreme. So some say Brahma is supreme, some say Shiva is supreme, some says Vishnu is supreme. So this argument, even the Devatas have it. So to settle this dispute, they called Bhrigu Muni to resolve this dispute. So Bhrigu Muni is the sage of all the Devatas. So he says, okay, let me go meet Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, and then come to a conclusion and tell you who is the supreme. So he first goes to Brahmaji. So when Brahma is actually the father of Bhrigu Muni. So he goes there and sits and waits for Brahma. When Brahma comes there, Bhrigu Muni doesn't get up. So that is like not showing respect to your father. So Brahma's eyes flared in anger. He did not use any words, but he flared in anger. And he says, okay, so this is something which I have to give a report to the Devatas. Then he goes to Lord Shiva, where he was seated with Parvati, and he did not even knock the door out of courtesy. He just enters the place. And then when he meets Lord Shiva, he was also extremely upset that he didn't have the courtesy to even sort of knock the door before coming, and he uses words to chastise Bhrigu Muni that this is not the proper etiquette that you follow. Then he goes to Vishnu's planet, and then he saw Vishnu there, and then he kicked Vishnu on the chest. When that happened, Vishnu just very calmly responded. He says, "My chest is so hard. Shall I massage? Your feet must have got hurt. So shall I massage your soft lotus feet?" So that was the response of Vishnu to Bhrigu Muni. So in the first case, there was a mental aparadh done. In the second case, there was a words, vachaha, aparadh done. And the third one was even a physical aparadh. But in spite of all that, Vishnu's reaction was very, very calm. So then he went and reported and said that I conclude that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of God. Then sloka number 8 to 12 we'll just run through. This is to give the meaning of how Krishna is the cause and the essence of everything. So this is conveyed in 8 until 12. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sasi suryayo pranabah sarva vedeshu shabdah ke paurusham rishu. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and the ability in man. So we'll start listing out now. So taste is the actual principle of water, and the taste depends on purity. So anything that we taste, we must remember the origin is the energy of the Lord. That is Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. The light of the sun and moon is given by, so anything where there is light, we should again remember that this is the energy of the Lord. So even the Brahma Jyoti which the impersonalists are going after is therefore an effulgence which originates from the Lord. Then Om is the original first sound vibration. So when we say Om, it is non-different from Krishna. Yeah? And then the sound of ether, any sound, pleasant or unpleasant, originates from Krishna. And he says finally, is the ability in man. So anything that we are able to do is originating not from ourselves, but it is originating from the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, okay, so we go to 9. Punyo Gandhaha Prithivyam Cha Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasho Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu Tapaschasmi Tapasvishu. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all aesthetics. So he talks about the original fragrance of the earth, that original flavor, the smell, and the taste. And he also says punya. Punya also means that which is not decomposed or that which is original. So that original flavor, taste, and fragrance, we have to remember, is the energy of Krishna. The heat and fire is energy of Krishna. But for the heat in the belly, digestion will never take place. Yeah. So if we are able to digest the food that we are eating, is because of Krishna's mercy. And then I am the life of all that lives, which means he is the duration of life is also decided by Sri Krishna. And any penance that we do, the power of the penance of all aesthetics is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. So 5 was discussed in 8, 4 more in sloka number 9, and 10 is again three more energies of Krishna. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam Viddhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. So, O son of Pritha, I am the original seed of all existences. He is the original bija. And then he is the intelligence in the intelligent and the prowess of all powerful men. All intelligence, all powers comes originally from Krishna, and he is the Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. So three more mentioned here. Why is he giving all this list? Because in our daily activities, whatever we do, we should be able to see Krishna in those activities. Then all our material activities also becomes spiritual. And then sloka number 11, he says, Bhalam bhalavatam chaham amaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshaba. Okay, so here there are two more qualities mentioned. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas. So the strength and even the sex life. So sex life, he says, dharma viruddho bhuteshu. Sex lives to be practiced within the institution of marriage, which is not against religious principles, and primarily for the purpose of propagation or creation of Krishna conscious children. So, so these two are again 13 and 14. So 14 of his energies are mentioned. Then he introduces the next topic about the three modes of material nature, which we'll take up next time that we meet. So we covered 11 slokas today, and sloka number, so 14 energies of the Lord we listed. And then we also decided that we are going to memorize verse number 7. So probably I'll send it on the group. So we memorized sloka number 7. And the concept in the first, we also understood the basic concept of why we get messed up with false ego. Being superior energy of the Lord, we use the inferior energy of the Lord, and while exploiting the inferior energy, we claim ownership and control over the inferior energy. And so that's the false ego definition itself. So that we learned, and then we also learned in the beginning how the beginning of bhakti starts with Tat Shrunu, or hearing about the Supreme Personality of God. Okay, so we stop here. We've gone above the time limit by around 12 minutes. Is there any question? Anyway, this is the first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, in the 9 process of bhakti that you mentioned,
Yeah.
and we forget to mention 2. One was Karunam, Kirtanam, Smran, Path, Sevanam, Archanam. What was the 6th one?
Vandanam.
Vandana.
Archanam is and Vandanam is prayers. So these
Prayers.
are connecting to each other, but they're still different.
And Prabhuji, who was the examples of Archanam and Vandanam?
Archanam, Vandanam is Akrura's prayers are well known, and the worship. Whom did we mention in worship? It is Archanam is Maharaj Prithu. Maharaj Prithu.
Maharaj.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did the Archanam, is supposed to be the ideal in deity worship.
Maharaj Prithu.
Yeah.
And Vandanam?
Vandanam is Akrura.
Okay.
Dasyam is Hanuman, we all know that. Sakyam is
Okay.
Arjuna.
Arjun,
Atma Nivedanam is Maharaj Bali.
Bali.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, what is the meaning of ether, which you have mentioned just now? Ether.
Ether. Ether is sound or space.
Akash,
Akash, yeah.
space.
Yeah. It is actually defined in Hindi as Akash only. If you have the Hindi book, you can see it is translated as Akash. Yeah.
Prabhuji, one more question.
Yes.
Antarang Shakti, you mentioned 3 Shaktis in Antarang Shakti. One is Sat Chit Anandhanam, one is Anand Shakti. What was the third one?
Yeah. One is Sat, Chit, and Ananda.
Okay.
Sat is also called as Sandhini Shakti of God,
Mm-hmm.
which is the aspect of eternity. So then Chit is the Samvit potency of the Lord, is the knowledge. Chit is knowledge. And then Ananda is Aladini Shakti or bliss factor. Ananda is bliss. Sukh और आनंद में actually there is a difference. सुख क्षणिक है, आनंद शाश्वत है. So once you attain the state of ananda, it is eternal. You know, it's blissful all the time. It'll be fun going to Goloka and being with Krishna and serving him. Is that clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Varun Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna. Oh, the best part of the program we are all missing.
We are?
Lecture is over, but no prasadam to eat with each other.
Prasadam.
Yeah, no prasadam.
No prasadam.
Lunchtime.
I request everyone to stay safe, stay well.
Thank you.
It's really becoming a community thing. A lot of devotees are also affected. We know of at least about 10 devotees who are having this COVID problem. And, most of them from Barduba area. So one is one is in the hospital and fortunately recovering. And then there are 5 or 6 practicing devotees from the labor camps who have been affected by COVID. So let's stay safe and stay healthy and pray to the Supreme Lord that this problem will get over soon and we'll be having personal association once again.
Yes.
So Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It was very.
And the positive about this is that it's a time for reflection and extra time for practicing spirituality. So please, everybody, commit yourself to chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
one more request.
Yeah.
Maybe our